Okay, very good afternoon and welcome to this latest broadcast in this ongoing, fast paced, moving trial of former Minister of Petroleum, Diezani Allison madueke. Just about 10 to 15 minutes ago, she just left court with her supporters. Right here, of course, Southern Crown Court is behind me. 2 days ago, I told you we were to be back in court. The jury was sent home on Monday and were to return on Wednesday. But I told you that the court, the judge, while dismissing them on Monday, said there was a matter of law to be considered and that they weren't going to be needed until yesterday. But when we also, on Tuesday, I was in court when part of that, behind the scenes, when the jury is not sitting, remember, we cannot report. So, but I was in court, the court was sitting, but there was no hearing, there was no jury on Tuesday, so I cannot tell you what happened in court on Tuesday. But on Tuesday, the judge and the two sides of the bench, they agreed that there was going to be no sitting tomorrow, yesterday, Wednesday, and that there was going to be sitting today. So today, the jury was to resume at 11. Okay, that was what happened on Tuesday. That was the decision. The judge, adjourned till today. Again, I was in court on Tuesday. I know what happened, but we are under restriction. Probably, of course, not probably, after the trial, I'll be at liberty to tell you many of the things which have happened, which we cannot report right now because of legal restriction. It will be contempt of court to report anything which happened while the jury is not on seat. So I saw what happened. The judge knew what happened on Tuesday. And of course, the two sides of the bench, they were in court on Tuesday, considering the point of law which the judge mentioned while dismissing the jury on Monday. Like I said, just about 10, 15 minutes ago, Diezani and her supporters, and her well-wishers, and I think her son, I can't verify that, but she left court. They left court here about 10, 15 minutes ago, quite with about 8 or 7 of her supporters. But what happened in court today was that there was supposed the hearing, the trial was supposed to resume at 11. But around 10:30, the court, the announcement was made that the people should come back, all the parties in the court should come around, So, but I was just getting to court, afternoon, and I was told the court is over. As a matter of fact, when Madame Diezani was leaving court about 15 minutes ago, she even asked me, she even told me, you are late. Because, the judge had adjourned before, less than, just about an hour into today's hearing. Again, I know what happened. I've been told what happened, but I cannot say it. We are still under restriction. So the court is not back again till tomorrow. The judge had to send the jury home. Even that was all that happened today. And just before coming on air again, I saw one of the barristers. As I'm talking now, some of the lawyers, they just going by. I can't spin the camera around to catch them. But I asked one of the barristers as well. Actually, I asked one of the defense barristers just about before Diezani and people came out. I said, are we back today in the afternoon? She said, no, but she said tomorrow. Definitely we are back tomorrow. But I cannot tell you what happened in court today, except to say that the judge adjourned, sent the jury home early. It's an early day in the office today. Like me, I came here just about 30 minutes ago, just after noon, so that I could be in court before lunch break because court was to resume at 11. But as I just passed through security, my colleague just told me, "Oh, you're late. We are finished." I said, "What happened?" He told me, and then I have heard that what happened, but I cannot say it. We are under restriction not to say. The judge did not tell the jury themselves why she was adjourned till tomorrow, but the jury was sent home to come back tomorrow. I'm going to be able to probably tell you, depending on what is disclosed in front of the jury tomorrow. But the court has adjourned for today. And Diezani herself, this is the first time in a long time in this week 8 that, she's walking away from court with many of her supporters. Many times, chauffeur is there, taxi is there to pick her up. But today, she had her well-wishers and her friends and loved ones. Many are still around just on that side of the court, just to my right. They're just gathering, discussing what happened. But I cannot say what happened in court today, except to let you know that the judge sent the jury home very early and said that tomorrow we should be back here. Tomorrow I'll give you further update, but for now, that's how it is. This is week 8 of, and remember, we are going all the way to the end of April, but today is a short day at the office, not a long day. It's a short day at the office. The judge has sent the jury home saying that, okay, we'll be back tomorrow. So I'll give you further updates tomorrow. That is how it has panned out. Let me see if I can just switch the camera over to just get the, some of Diezani friends. They are around there. But it's a beautiful day today. That's why I'm not in jacket. It's slightly cold, but it's sunny. And of course, we know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still right here in London, enjoying his state visit at the invitation of King Charles III with the First Lady. And I think today they'll be having a global dinner at Waterloo, one of the posh hotels there in Waterloo, with business leaders. The fee is £1,000 per head. So if you fancy it, you can dash down to Waterloo. I don't have the name of the hotel by heart right now, but that is it. But for today, right here at Southern Crown Court, the judge has sent the jury home. We are not back until tomorrow. Practically, there was no hearing today, no sitting today. Again, just to reiterate, I know what happened, but we are under restrictions not to report what happens when the jury is not on seat. So this is week 8. And like I said also, Diezani just left court. Should be about 20 minutes now that she left with her supporters, and she saw me as I was trying to set up my camera. I was even asking me, in court today? I said, yeah, I came late. Oh, she said, oh, she was the first to say, oh, you're late. So she looks in good mood, and the weather is looking good. It's a lot more friendlier than in past. We're moving very close to the sunny weather, even though it's double digit, but it is a lot better than in previous days or earlier in the week. So that is it for today. I'm going to give you update tomorrow at the end of tomorrow's sitting. But today, just to reiterate, the judge has sent home the jury. Today was supposed to be a full day. It was initially supposed to be yesterday, but on Tuesday, which I cannot say what happened, but the judge said rather than yesterday that hearing the trial was to resume today at 11. But on getting to court at 11 today, the jury was summoned before 11, and the judge told the 12 members of jury that, they need to go home early, go and put their feet up. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, just on a final note, I cannot tell you why the judge sent them home, because we are under restriction for not reporting what was not said in front of the jury. But tomorrow, the court resumes. Tomorrow is always an early day. So tomorrow I'll be able to give you further update. That is it today. Enjoy the sunshine